For the longest time, wanting to be alone got a really bad rap. People would look at you and think, oh, is that social anxiety? Is something wrong? But what if it's the total opposite? What if, as psychology is now telling us, it's actually a sign of some serious cognitive strength? That's the big question we're tackling today.
I mean, you've been there, right? A super long day, back-to-back meetings, maybe a big crowded party, and all you can think about is just getting some quiet. Well, that feeling, it's not a flaw. It's not a weakness. It's a huge clue about how your brain is actually wired.
All right, so let's get right into it. First things first, we've got to bust a major myth. See, society has this whole story about what it means to be alone, and honestly, it's got it all wrong.
I mean, just think about it for a second. You see these stereotypes everywhere. Someone picks a quiet night with a book over a loud party, boom, they're antisocial. Someone's perfectly happy just hanging out by themselves, they must be lonely or depressed. There's this constant pressure to be outgoing, like that's the only valid way to exist. It's kind of crazy.
Okay, but here's where the story takes a huge turn. Psychology comes in and offers a totally different take, a much more empowering one. It says, hold on a second, this isn't a weakness at all. In fact, it's a massive sign of a really high-functioning mind.
So the key concept here is something called cognitive reflection. The easiest way to think about it, it's like your brain has a pause button. So instead of just going with your immediate gut reaction to something, you hit pause. You take a breath, you step back from that first impulse, and you actually think things through. It's the huge difference between just reacting and thoughtfully responding.
And this quote, it just hits the nail on the head. It completely flips the script. Solitude isn't about some kind of social deficit. No, it's a strategic choice. It's you intentionally creating the ideal space for your brain to do its best, most difficult work, the deep thinking, the creating, the real understanding.
So, what does this actually look like in real life? Well, researchers have pinpointed 6 key habits that are basically the proof. Let's get into them.
All right, number 1, and this might be the most important one of all, they are highly self-aware. See, when people who value solitude seek out quiet, they're not just running away from the noise.
They're running towards something. They're turning inward on purpose. They use that alone time for some serious introspection. It's their chance to figure out what they're feeling, what their real strengths are, what they truly value. And this isn't just, staring at the wall. It's about building a rock-solid inner compass that ends up guiding everything they do.
Okay, habit number 2. And this one just completely blows up that old antisocial myth. It's not about the number of friends you have. Not at all. It's all about the quality of those connections.
Here's the thing. They're not trying to avoid people. They're trying to avoid the shallow, surface-level stuff. Think about it. Your social energy is like a battery, right? It's got a limited charge, and they choose to pour that energy into a few really deep, meaningful relationships instead of spreading it thin over tons of casual acquaintances. For them, it is always quality over quantity.
Number 3, they are incredibly observant. It makes sense, right? When you're not so busy talking, you get way better at listening and watching. They're the ones who see all the little details that everyone else, caught up in the chatter, just sails right past. Their mind isn't constantly spinning, thinking, okay, what am I going to say next? So their attention is totally free to just absorb. They'll catch that tiny flicker of doubt in someone's expression. They'll pick up on the weird power dynamics happening under the surface in a meeting. They notice the little things that tell the real story. And all that quiet observation, it leads to a much, much deeper understanding.
All right, number 4, and this one is huge. We're talking about emotional regulation. For them, solitude is basically a gym for their emotions. It's where they build emotional strength and stability.
So instead of just getting swept away by a strong feeling, they take it into their lab, that quiet space, and they look at it under a microscope. Okay, what is this feeling? Where did it come from? And by doing that, they can deal with life's curveballs with intention, not just raw instinct. It's the difference between just feeling your emotions and actually understanding.
Coming in at number 5, and this one makes perfect sense when you think about it. They are often our most profound thinkers and creative problem solvers.
You just can't tackle a really complex problem without focus. And real creativity? That happens when your brain has the space to make these weird new connections between ideas. Solitude is like the perfect incubation chamber for those thoughts. It's no accident that so many brilliant minds, from Einstein to Bill Gates, swore by their alone time. It's where the real breakthroughs happen.
And that brings us to number 6. This one really ties everything else together. Because they've put in all that work, the self-reflection, the deep thinking, they end up being guided by their own rock-solid values.
I mean, when you know yourself that well, when you're that clear on what you stand for, all that outside noise just fades away. Peer pressure, groupthink, it just doesn't have the same pull. You're not looking for the crowd to tell you you're okay because you've already found that confidence inside. And what does that lead to? A life that's genuinely authentic, one that you are truly directing.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's time to embrace your inner world. That need for quiet isn't a problem that needs to be solved. We've got to stop looking at it like a bug in our system and see it for what it really is. A powerful, built-in feature of a deeply reflective and incredibly high-functioning mind.
At the end of the day, it's not an escape. It's a tool for discovery. It's not about running away from everything. It's about running towards a deeper understanding of the world and, yeah, of yourself. So let me leave you with this question. The next time you feel that pull, that craving for a little bit of quiet, don't fight it. Don't think there's something wrong. Lean into it. Treat it like an opportunity. Because really, the only question is, what will you discover?